Oh, so Zev Ball's not on yet? All right, so just to clarify from last night with the Kibbut Aveim, so the Mechaber holds that you still have to show covet. I think I said it the opposite. The Mechaber Paskin said if the father's over, you still have to show covet. The Ramah says you don't have to show covet. That's the way the Ramah Paskins. And the Aruch HaShulchan says that if a father's over on Averis, it has to be where he's constantly repeating the Averis. Constantly repeating the Averis, not just he does it once. Like the Olam wanted to say last night. So, you know what I mean? You see the father talks during shul, so that's it. You don't have to have covet. No, he has to be a repeat offender, as they say. Right? Then you'd have some tightness.
Well,
yeah.
You don't have to give him the special covet for a father, but you still have to have covet of brias. I mean, the guys were talking last night, just smashing people in the head because you see a guy going to McDonald's, you hit him with a bat. I mean, I don't know.
Right? No. We should have pointed that out. It's a very good point, Rabban. It's an important point that you're still going to be chayiv, I think, for hitting another person. It's only the extra chayiv of hitting a parent that you don't. That's a good point. It's a valid point. You can't just see a guy talking to their diving and clock him, right? But meaning the extra isser.
They're going to show on Monday, talking during davening, then missing Tuesday. Right? I can say you're allowed to beat him for missing davening.
No, we said right? You're not allowed. If you hit the father, you don't have the extra. You don't have the extra. What do you call it? The extra isser of a father.
Because he's drinking. Then he goes to shul and he starts talking. Is it considered kriyas or is it saying he has to do it constantly, right?
Yeah.
So if davening during shul is one thing, talking during shul and then missing minyan, does that combine?
I don't know. I mean, do you combine
every
these
other
things?
day? Does that give him a break from talking during shul?
Yeah. Now here, I don't know. So now I have my own kibbut aveim shaila here, kibbut aim, because I see saying my mother is schlepping stuff. Am I supposed to get up now and schlep for her? Because none of my kids are here to help her.
Came from Costco.
Yeah.
That's worse for me, Tziyakov.
Why?
I knew she came from Costco.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Beforehand to meet her.
It is going well.
Anyways, okay, so let's go. So now we have again the first. I don't know how it goes. Part of the daf is easy. The second part of the daf is hard. Second part of the daf is hard. I thought it's tomorrow already. We're on to different subjects. Fine. Okay, so we left off in the middle of the Shaklavataria of Machlokes. Who was it? Machlokes, Rabbi Yossi ben Yehuda, and the Rabbanon. If you're chayiv twice, if a guy's mezana with his sister, is he chayiv out his sister because of his sister, and is he also chayiv because it's his father's wife's daughter? Right. So each one had different. Each one had different ways to learn out from the pasuk. That the pasuk says Eres achoisa bas avicha vasimecha, and we're in the middle of this back and forth, which is going to take us down to the entire Amud Aleph now of the back and forth. So we're up to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines up from the bottom. Okay.
Brought you outside.
Sitting here, fine.
I know, but it's cold, not cold.
I think that's where we left off, right?
It's warm.
Yeah. Rabbi Yossi Yehuda, hi bas eishes avicha mai abedlei. So Rabbi Yossi, right, to the Rabbanan had said that you learn it out from bas eishes avicha, right? Because it says the daughter of your father's wife. So, and that's what the Rabbanan said. That's why you chayiv too. So Rabbi Yossi Yehuda said, no, you're not chayiv. Good. So what does he do with the pasuk that says the daughter of your father's wife? So when he answers me, He needs it for it's for somebody who your father can have some form of ishus. What does that exclude? That comes to exclude if you sleep with your sister, who's from a goyisha mother, either from a shifcha or from a vedazara. But that there's no ishus to your father with it, right? So that's what it's coming to exclude. That there's no ishus if your father had a child, a girl with a guy, then there's no ishus. I mean, you would not be chayiv for your father's daughter. You'd only be chayiv for well, I don't know. Would you be chayiv for sister then? I don't know. Would you be? Is that called sister? Pashtas not.
If she's not her father's daughter, then she's not your sister.
Well, no, because it's two different isurim. One is sister.
Yeah, but you're saying she's not his daughter. So yeah, she can't be his sister if she's not his daughter.
No, because it's not his wife's daughter. It's not his wife's daughter, right? The pasuk says daughter of sister, and the pasuk also says father's wife's daughter, right? Meaning a guy can sleep with. No, that's yeah. L'chara, you're right. The l'chara, it's not. They don't. The two are not separated. Okay, fine. So then, what says who says that it means to exclude a sister from a goyish mother? Maybe it comes to exclude a sister that the father was ma'anis, right? Maybe he was ma'anis a woman and had a sister from there. Maybe that's what it means to exclude. So the Gemara answers, that you can't say. Why? Because there's a different steer in the psukim. The Rama asked the steer. The erva of your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter, meaning your granddaughter, you should not reveal. Right? But that sounds like you're allowed to marry the granddaughter of your wife's, right? Right. So then that's what it's mashma. It's only from the fathers. But if it's just the mothers, then not. But then it says another pasuk, ervas ishu bita loy segala. You should not be megala of a woman and her daughter as baspan of as basbita, and not her granddaughter from either the son or the daughter. Whatever it is, it says that you're not allowed to be megala the erva of a mother, a daughter, and a granddaughter. So which one is it? Can you or not? So the Gemara answers, okay, tzad kan ba'einsin, kan v'nesuin. One is talking about where he was ma'anis, and one is talking about where it was the daughter from a proper marriage. Right? So, okay, what does this have to do with the sister? This is talking about grandchildren. But what you see from here is that einsin is still considered a daughter, right? From einsin is still considered a daughter. That it could be referred to as a daughter. So since it could be referred to as a daughter, so then for a sister, it's also going to be considered a daughter, even though the sister became his sister from the father being ma'anis, a woman, right? But still, lamaisa, you see from this stira with granddaughter that it's considered. It's einsin daughter from anusa is still considered a sister. Fine, on Talmud Aleph now. So Gemara says ve'em prat l'chayve lavin. Right, but why don't we say that according to Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, what's the pasuk coming to tell you? The pasuk is coming to exclude any case that comes from chayve lavin, right? Which would be what would be chayve lavin? So chayve lavin is a mamzer. Let's say the father marries a mamzeres, right? The father he doesn't make a mamzeres, he marries a mamzeres, and then they have a daughter. So maybe we'll say that daughter, and then this brother sleeps with that sister who's a daughter, right? So maybe why don't we say that that's not considered a sister, and therefore he's not going to be chayiv twice. So Papa chayiv lavin tafsilu kedushin. No, we know chayiv lavin kedushin works. You're not allowed to do it. But to marry a mamzeres is only allowed, and we know that when you marry a mamzeres, that makes that does make kedushin. So since it has kedushin, that means that she is considered your legitimate sister. This if, how do you know? Because a man has two wives. One is loved and one is hated. Is there such a thing as Hashem loving and Hashem hating? Right? Which is interesting, right? I mean, can Hashem hate? I think we had this in an Agada to Gemara. Is there such a thing as Hashem hating? From here, it's Mashra not.
Why wouldn't it be?
Why wouldn't it be?
Why can't he have hate? I don't understand.
Oh, Hashem.
I've never understood that.
I mean, there's a lot of the shyness that we use about Hashem taking revenge on his enemies, etc., right? So, So I'm not sure. Either way, so is there such a thing as that? Ella, what must it mean? Ahuva b'nisuel, senua b'nisuel. Ahuva must mean that he loves the marriage because it's a kosher marriage. Senua b'nisuel means that it's an aveira. There was an aveira. Rashi says the word aveira. So it was an aveira, so therefore it's hated. But yet the Torah still calls it when it will be. So you see that it's a proper marriage. That's how we know Chayve Lavin they do have a proper, it's considered a marriage. So therefore, since it's considered a marriage, so therefore if a brother sleeps with a sister whose mother is a mamzeres, it's still considered like a sister, and it's considered like the father's wife's daughter, and he would be chayiv. He would be chayiv twice. So that's what it can come to exclude. So then where it says v'ema prat l'chayve krisis, so maybe it's coming to exclude chayve krisis, that if the father marries a woman who he'd be chayiv kares for and has a daughter, so maybe that's the case where one would be chayiv. So Amar Rava, Amar Kra, erba zachois chabasa vicha oibasimecha. It says the erba of your sister, who's the daughter of your father or daughter of your mother. Myledis bias and myledis chutz. Whether she's a myledis in the house or outside the house. So what does this mean? Whether we tell the father, okay, keep this wife, or whether we tell the father that he has to divorce the wife because he's not allowed to be married to her, yet the Torah still says it's a sister. So therefore you see that chayve krisos, even if the father is chayiv kares for who he married, the daughter is still going to be considered your sister. So therefore that can't be the exclusion. So the Gemara says, Ema bein sha'im v'lo yavicha kayim. Right now say bein sha'im v'lo yavicha kayim, whether they tell the father to keep the wife, bein sha'im v'lo yavicha hotze, or they say to the father, send her out. And the Torah says, so maybe, why are you saying that it's coming to include achive kares? Maybe it's coming to include a daughter from a goy, which we said before, it's not coming to include that. So the Gemara answers, Amakra, Bas Eishes Avicha. It says the daughter of the wife of your father. Whoever has Ishus to your father, Prat La Chaisai, Mishivcha Vavedis Kechavim, comes to exclude a sister from a Shivcha Vavedis Kechavim. So basically we have one pasuk that tells you that Chiyuve Karis is considered a sister, and we have another pasuk that's telling you that a daughter from a guy, from a mother who's a guy, is not considered a sister. Umar Isa. So why? Who says which pasuk should go which way? Right? Meaning one pasuk is inclusive and one pasuk is exclusive. So who tells you which one you should include and which one you should exclude? So Gemara answers, "Stavra chayve krisis havalei l'rabas." We should include chayve krisis. Shekain tavsi ben kedushin la'alma. The rest of the world can marry this lady. It's not like this lady is a psul, right? Like a shivcha and a goy, nobody's allowed to marry. But a chiyuve karis, everybody else is not allowed to marry, is allowed to marry. Just this guy is not allowed to marry. So therefore, that's going to be more, it's closer to being a proper marriage, that the sister should be considered, that the daughter of this chiyuve karis should be considered a sister, as opposed to a daughter from a mixed marriage. Right? So the Gemara says, Adarabba, Shivcha v'eskechavim havalei l'rabis. You should include a shivcha and a guy, the migaira, because if she becomes a giyaris, l'didei nami tavzi v'kedushin, then she could taka marry the guy. right? Even though we're going to see in tomorrow's daf that you can't do that, but that's what it's mashma here. So Gemara says, like we said yesterday's daf, when she becomes a giyaris, it's a different body, right? Just because they were together when she was a guy, when she gets remarried, is a different person. So therefore, it's not, you're not going to say, oh, there was a possibility for her to marry him lahalacha, because that's not going to work. So Gemara asks, and how do you know that we're going to exclude a sister that's the daughter of a guy and the father? We're going to learn it out from a woman and her kids that are going to be for her master, right? So we learned out from yesterday, we had this in yesterday's daf also, that a woman, the shifcha becomes the property of her boss. So if she becomes the property of her boss, that means she's obviously not a yid, because if she'd be a yid, she wouldn't be able to be the property of her boss. So that's how you know that there's no, when a mother is a guy or a shifcha, it doesn't work. So Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, so what does he do with this pasuk? One pasuk is talking about a shifcha, right? That excludes the sister that comes from a mother of a shifcha, from her mother's a shifcha. And one is coming to exclude a goy, a sister from a goy. So why do you need two psukim for that? If you're going to say shifcha, a shifcha doesn't have chayas, I'm sorry. She doesn't have any yichus. A shifcha is not related to anybody. She's in no man's land. She has no relationships whatsoever. But a guy, the isla chayas, who does have some sort of what do you call it? Yichus, right? Like, but their fathers are, there is some sort of relationship that they're considered their fathers. So aim aloi. So I would say maybe that's not part of it. So therefore, you need a pasuk to tell you that that's not considered a sister. Never would tell you mitzvahs is not shayach in mitzvahs, right? A guy doesn't do mitzvahs.
Zion mitzvahs.
Oh, so it means, but I think it means the more than the Zion mitzvahs, right? Meaning a shifcha, right? Aval shifcha, the shayra mitzvahs aim aloi. Whatever it is, you want to say that maybe they're in the Zion mitzvahs, but they certainly don't have as many mitzvahs as the shifcha. That's for sure, because the shifcha has to keep mitzvahs like a woman, right? So whatever it is, the shifcha does have more mitzvahs. So you would think maybe the daughter of a shifcha can be considered your sister. So tzricha, that's where you need psukim to tell you that neither one of them are considered a sister. But Rabbanon. So what about the Rabbanon? Why don't they need two psukim? Ashkechan shifcha. We said it by shifcha, right? Avedas kochavim minalahu. How do they know that a sister from Rabbi Zara is not a sister? If you're going to say you learn out from shifcha, hanu mitzvah tzricha, we just had the tzricha, so that you can't learn it out from one from the other, because you wouldn't know one without the other. So Amar Kra ki Yasser as bin chamayachar. I read this in Rashi a few blot ago. The pasuk says is that when your son will turn, when he will turn your son away. Now Yasser is a lashon zachar. When he will turn your son away. Bincha mi Yisraelis kari bincha. The son from a Yiddish mother, from a Jewish mother, is called your son. And the son that comes from a guy is not called your son, right? So the lineage, is that the right word? The lineage goes with the mother. So if the mother's a yid, the kid's a yid. If the mother's a guy, the kid is a guy. Right? It's called her son. Right? Fine. So that's the source that how you know that for these type of things it goes with the mother. Right? So Amar Rabina, Shma Mina, Ben Bitcha Habal Mina Hayvet Kechavim Kari Bincha. So what we hear from this is that your grandson, right, your daughter's son, that comes from a goy, from a male goy, kari bincha is called your son. Why? Because your daughter is a yid, right? Since your daughter is a yid, so therefore your grandson is considered your grandson. Lema kasavar avina ayver kachavim be'ever abal bas Yisrael havlad kasha. So you're saying that a goy or an eved that sleeps with a bas Yisrael, the vlad is kosher, right? So he says, no, slow down. He the mamzer lehavi. Yes, granted, it's not considered a mamzer, kosher nami lehavi, but it's not considered kosher, right? It's because the mother is Jewish and the father is not. Yisrael passul mikris. He's called the Yisrael passul, right? So what does it mean of Yisrael passul? So basically, he wouldn't be able. The kids wouldn't be able to marry a kohen. If it would be a girl, wouldn't be able to marry a kohen, right? And I think even if they marry a kohen, no, how does it go? They wouldn't be able to eat truma, something like that. If it's a kohen, right? If a kohen, if a kohen, right? No, it can't be. If she's a bas kohen, maybe. Something like that. How does it go? Yeah, I thought so. So yeah, they can't marry a kohen for sure. So then, yeah, what else is in Negea too? I'm forgetting now. What else would be a passul? I don't know, I'm not remembering now. Okay, so then where it says Hai b'shiva umas ksiv, but that's written by the 7 nations. It's not written by all goyim, right? So who says by all goyim? We say the same thing. So we say ki yasser. The Rabbah says in Masirim. When it says ki yasser, when somebody is gonna turn you away, right, remove you from Yiddishkeit, it's coming to include anybody that's removing you from Yiddishkeit. So when I ask, Hani Reb Shimon the Darish time with the Kra. So that's good according to Reb Shimon who darshans the reasons from the pasuk. So the whole reason from the pasuk, even though the pasuk is said by the 7 nations, right? But it means the reason why you can't marry them is because they're going to turn you away from Yiddishkeit. So according to Reb Shimon, he darshans the time of the cross. So it would include if you go with the reason, and the reason is they're going to turn you from Yiddishkeit. So that's any guy. It doesn't have to be from the Shiva. But how about the Rabbanon who don't darshan time with the Krah, and they take everything literal, so it should be only the 7 nations. So man Tana the Palag Alei Reb Yosef Yehuda. Who's the Tana that disagrees with Reb Yosef Yehuda? Reb Shimon. It's Reb Shimon. So the Machlokes here is between Reb Shimon and Reb Yosef Yehuda. So Reb Shimon is the one that darshans time with the Krah, right? Yeah. So therefore, okay. So that's the end of the Machlokes. It's very rare you have such a long Machlokes carrying you like almost a minute and a half. Back and forth, what is each one darshan? Now I have to say that I actually had this shaila yesterday and today with the Goyish father. You can't make it up. I mean, whatever. It's a guy had a baby and they were having infertility issues, and Lamaisa they used sperm from a sperm bank, which is from a goy, right? That's Ramosha's heter, is to use it from a goy. How they got the heter with the heter, I think I mentioned it once in the thing. Either way, the guy had a baby, and now he needs to make a pidyon haben, right? So he asks me, when is the pidyon haben? So I'm thinking, okay, when's the pidyon haben? Then I slow down. I say, 1 second. The kid's father's a guy. This guy's not the father, right? He has no shaykhis. Right? The guy is the father. From a sperm bank. Yes, from a guy from a sperm bank, right? So the kid is not his kid. So now, how do you do a pidyon haben when the father is a guy? Pidyon haben is a chiyuv on the father, right? So then, what do? You
don't know it's a guy. You don't know it's a guy.
Yeah, no, it has to be a guy. Otherwise, Ramosha didn't.
Yeah, but I thought, well, these sperm banks don't tell you who it is.
Sure, they do. Yeah, they do.
Oh, yeah.
They don't tell you who. They won't tell you who, but they'll tell you
ethnicity. Whatever.
When he's 13, is he mechuyev to be paid himself?
Oh, so that's the shaila. So that is
What?
the shaila.
What's the question?
Is he? Does he be paid himself? Is he paid to himself?
When he's a bardas. or when it's a
Right,
bar
meaning
mitzvah?
meaning the mother does not have the pigeon. My mother has no chiyuv to do a pigeon at all. So who's she to do be paida? She doesn't have any koyach to be paida, which is fascinating because the ma'isa the yichus goes with the mother. She can't be paida him, right?
Well,
What's the shiloh
well,
if the father dies before the baby
you're
is 13?
saying that he has
Oh,
to have
same shiloh, same shiloh. The
saying
father dies. Yeah. What are you
you're
saying?
saying he has to have a pigeon because a Jewish person needs a pigeon. Then
Correct.
his mother couldn't. What does his mother do? After the recha kamoicha.
That's true, but she doesn't have any jurisdiction over him. Why? I don't know, but she doesn't.
But the
It's not
community
hers to
does.
do.
No, the community does, though.
Oh, so it's really on Besdin. So,
Yeah, so NCSY will do the pigeon. Yeah, you have another job there. Sure, you can do that. Put it on the resume.
yeah. So, anyways, so Lamaisa, the Paiskim said two things. Either he taka waits till he's bar mitzvah, and then he has to do the pigeon, which is very nakishmak, right? Or they form a Besdin, and Besdin does the pigeon, right? But then there's a shiloh whether they can make a bracha or not, and then there's a shiloh whether he also has to do the pigeon on himself when he becomes bar mitzvah.
Aaron, you get extra money if there's three of them. Maybe you get extra money.
You do a buy one get one free on the pigeon. 13 years later.
Aaron, this is my new business model here.
Yeah. But no, but it was an interesting thing that the father's a guy. The mice of the father's a guy. So, yeah, whatever it is. So, but I don't know whether they're making a bracha or not. I didn't get involved.
What did you tell him?
I told him to go to the rabbis who mastered the sperm bank, and they'll tell him how to do it. I was involved with it. I said I certainly wasn't going to be master. You know what I mean? So, whatever.
Fourth down, and Rav Yaakov punted.
Yep. But anyway, so cop out is the way to go. So, anyways, so that was that. It was an interesting shiloh. Okay, on Talmud Beis now. That was the Gishmaka part of the daf. Now this is a major Lumdisha Mishna right here. Mamish, a major Lumdisha Mishna. Okay, so Zok the Mishnah. There's going to be 4 cases or 5 cases here of the absent-minded professor marrying people. Right? The guy has no idea who he married. Okay? I mean, I don't know if anybody knows who they married, but that's a different shmooze. That's for parrots. Right? But so Zok the Mishnah, yeah? So Misha Kiddush is Achas Mishtei Achoyes. A guy was Makadish 2 sisters. Right? He had no idea.
One of 2 sisters.
One of 2 sisters. What did I say? He Makadish 2 sisters. I'm sorry. He's Makadish one of 2 sisters, and he has no idea which one he was Makadish. Right? So now that's your classic Suffolk Dairaisa. Again, Kiddushin, it means he didn't do this Nisuin, he just did Kiddushin. Right? So he's Makadish, one of 2 sisters, he has no idea which one. He doesn't know which one he was Makadish. Right? So Noisin get Lazeh. But now, how is somebody not going to know who he's Makadish? Right? So the Pashtus is
Ask
Yaakov Avinu.
Avinu.
Yeah, that Yaakov Avinu is an example, but he knew who he was Makadish the next day.
Identical twins.
What? Identical twins. No, okay, maybe. Or you could just say it was a shliach, and the shliach just forgot who he was Makadish, right? So.
And you can't ask the sisters which one? They should know.
Can you ask the sisters?
Are they not believed?
They're not believed. I don't know, Taka. Are they not believed? If they said he was Makadish me? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they
both say it was me. They both want to get married.
They wanted this. You mean okay? But what happens if one says yeah and the other one says no? You believe them?
Why not?
I don't know if there's Negias. I don't know.
Yaakov Avinu didn't know who we married.
The next day he did, no?
But what the Maisa Biyah and the Chuppah, everything was where they thought it was a different person.
Well, that was Thomas' scam. They scammed him.
Okay, good. Whatever you want to, however you want to touch it. You want to be his defense attorney, fine. He didn't know who he married. He didn't
Abba,
know.
I asked this to my chavrusa this morning, and he
No.
said to me that there's a mafarish that says that's why Rachel had to die before they entered Eretz Yisrael.
Okay, good. Yeah, okay, good.
I'm saying, what did he say?
That's why she had to die before Eretz Yisrael, because it couldn't be.
Okay, but that's Vertler.
But Bill and Zilpa were also, there was 4 sisters. The guy married 4 sisters.
The guy.
Yeah.
No, but I don't understand something.
His,
He
his-
knew.
his face happens to be Chukuk covered, but the Vile, he married 4 sisters, and he didn't know who he married, okay?
You guys touched on a very sore point with Reb Aaron.
The
What
Chumash
point
expert,
isn't
yeah.
sore with Aaron?
Could you please elaborate, Benny?
So let's go weiter.
No, but I think he knew who he married. Lamaisa Geret, the next day when this, because he go back to Leah. He could go back to Leah, right? He married her.
He didn't. What do you mean? He didn't know till the morning.
Good, but Lamaisa, he married her.
He had
The
beer
mice-
with her. He'd be without knowing. He's kind of her without.
That's
knowing
fine, but
who-
that's not the shaila here. That's not the shaila here is the guy has no idea who he married. By Yaakov Avinu, if in the next morning both Leah and Rachel would come to him and said, "Okay, who'd you marry?" The truth is, he probably would have said, "I married Rachel," and he would have been wrong. He would have been wrong, right?
Well, that's good. Yaakov, he was tricked based on the simonim. He thought he knew who he married.
Okay,
Right. So
good.
I'm saying it could have
So-
Taka come out. Maybe that's Naphtali. Maybe that's Naphtali's. Like she could have said, "Yeah, he married me." It's not true, right? He didn't know. Okay, I don't know. Now, I don't know. But the bottom line is that's not the case here. The case here is Taka didn't know which sister he married. So obviously it's a suffix daraisa lechumra. So he can't marry any of them. But again, he can't. They can't get married. Meaning he can't marry them because he doesn't know. One of them is his sister-in-law. Right? So he can't marry them, and they can't go marry without divorce because each one of them might be married. So what do you do? So okay, so nice and get lazu. He gives a get to each one, and everybody is happily ever after. Mace, but what happens if he dies? You knew that was coming, right? Veloy ach echad, and he has one brother. So then that one brother takes his place. Chalitz l'shtein, he does chalitza to both of them, right? If he had 2 brothers, right? So now again, now we're up to 2 brothers that could theoretically be miyavim 2 sisters, but they can't because of achas kukase, right? Because we don't know which brother gets which. Why? You don't know. So therefore, that's also so no good. So echad chalitz. So now here's where it gets a little bit more complicated. One does chalitza. The echad miyavim, and one, it doesn't mean he has to be miyavim. He could be miyavim if he wants, because it's really like a manoshach. Because once there was a chalitza, so that's it. So then he can marry. If the chalitza was done to the right woman, then the sister's perfectly fine to him, right? If the chalitza was done to the wrong woman, so then that's the one he's supposed to do yibum to. So manoshach. The second one could do yibum if he wants. Kadmu bekansu, but let's say they both jumped the gun and they both went and did yibum. Ein meitziyim miyadam. We don't make them get divorced. Now this is why. Why don't we make them get divorced? One of them is married to an isser. Right? Again.
It's a drabanan, isn't it?
Who?
It's a drabanan. Achais kukasei.
What?
Achais kukasei is a drabanan.
Achais kukasei. It's not skukasei anymore.
No, but it was at the time he was.
No, but one
the
of them
suffix
now,
is one of them's the right one, And one of them, the wrong one, is achayis kukase. That's the issue. With yibum. Not with kiddushin is a bigger issue.
Right.
With yibum,
Right.
it's only achayis kukase.
Right. So Rashi doesn't say that. Rashi says each brother can say, I married the right one. As we ask each one says, I married the right one, meaning the one that I did yibum to is the one that was married to my brother. Right? Okay, but what happens if it's not true? What?
Prove it.
Correct. But even if it's not true, but once one of them got married, the other one, the skuka falls away. So lima freya, it fell away. So then of shach, it's going to be okay. That's the way it goes, right? If the one who married, one of them is for sure married to the right one, and then the other one, once that happens, the skuka goes off, right? Because once one wife gets yibum, the other wife is scot-free, and then it's okay. Fine. Next case, shnayim shekitzu shtei achayis, two not brothers, right? Marry two sisters. So now we have a good chavrusa shop. Neither one of them has any idea which one they married, right? So zen nois and shnei gitin. So the same case. Each one gives 2 gitin. But zen nois and shnei gitin. This one gives 2 gitin. Meisu, and then if they die, and each one of them has 1 brother. Each one has to do chalitza, right? Because it's a big suffix. It's a suffix in the raisa. You got to be mach. Fine. But if one husband has 1 brother and the other one has 2 brothers, right? The yachid has to do chalitza to both, like we just said. And then the shnayim takes over like the original case in the Mishna. Echad chalitz, echad meyavim. One does chalitza, and the other one could do yibum. Kadmu v'kansu. And if they went and they got married, we don't take them out. The Gemara is going to ask, you're saying the same thing. It's just adding brothers to the mix. It's the same thing. So why do you have to repeat it? Fine. Last case, lazesh naim v'lazesh naim. But let's say each brother has, excuse me. Each brother has 2 brothers. This brother does chalitza to one. And this brother does chalitza to one. This brother does yibum to this chalitz. And this brother, it does yibum to who got chalitza from the other one. And then that's fine. Kidmu shnayim b'chalzu. If 2 of them get up and do chalitza, la yivmu ashnayim. Right? Then the other ones shouldn't do yibum, right? Because he might be going to his skuka. One does chalitza, one does yibum. Fine. Kadmu v'kansu ein matzim miyadam. And if again in all these cases, if they did get married, then we don't make them break up. Okay, so those are the cases. Fine. So Zog the Gemara. So Shema Mina Kiddushin Shein Mesurun Lebiyah. Yeah.
I just got the Rashi at the beginning of the Mishnah does mention that it's an Issa D'Rabbanan. What's it called? Chatzos kukase. I think the Rashi was coming to give a bigger chiddush. That even a chatzos kukase it isn't in the end. When the miyavim l'shteya. Because Pakazikal Mafreya, the Rashi's chiddush is that since Pakazikal Mafreya, it turns out that Lemafreya, he wasn't even over the Issa D'Rabbanan. There was no Issa D'Rabbanan.
Right. I hear. Oh, so you're saying that's what Rashi means with the D'Rabbanan. I hear. Very good. Okay, so Shema Mina. So we hear from this. Kiddushin, Shein, Mesurin, Lebiyah have a Kiddushin. Because again, this all they did was Kiddushin, right? They didn't do Nesuin, they did Kiddushin. Now, we're saying that they need a get, right? Why do they need a get? This Kiddushin could not have possibly allowed him to consummate the marriage with biyah, because the biyah would be usher, right? So kedushin that's not musr to biyah is kedushin, and that's what they need to get. Meaning, the Gemara is saying if you hold that kedushin that's not musr to biyah is not kedushin, so then they shouldn't need a get. Meaning, he could never sleep with these ladies. He was mekadesh them, right? They have the big engagement.
Chuppah's nida doesn't need a get.
Oh, very good, very good. So now, no chuppah's nida, right? So again, the Gemara is saying must be that kedushin shemesh biyah is still considered a kedushin, which we're going to say that it's not a kedushin. Okay, so if it's not a kedushin, so then what happens if it's a chuppah's nida? Right? What's the problem, Gershon?
I'm not understanding any of this.
Why?
The Havamin of the Gemara is changing the case from what we understood.
Why is it changing the case?
I mean, at least I understood in the Mishna that when he did the Kiddushin, he knew who he was talking to. Now he's saying that he had no idea. He had no idea who he was Mekadosh when he did the Kiddushin itself.
Correct.
How is that similar to Chuppah's Nida?
Are you talking about out the chuppah's nida? No, he's just saying, he's just asking out kedushin shein mesurin lebiyah.
It is mesurin lebiyah chuppah's nida.
Why is it mesurin lebiyah? She's a nida.
So in 12 days, 15 days, a year.
So that's okay. But the Rambam holds that a chuppah's nida doesn't work, right? So that the Rambam
he argues with Pas Pasalai, right?
So you're right. The way we paskin is that nida is mesurin lebiyah because eventually she'll go to the mikvah and then they'll be able to be a biyah. But the Rambam Taka holds not, and the Chassidim are very makbid. For some reason, the Chassidim got onto this Rambam. I don't know why, and that's why Chassidim are very, very anti chuppah's nidas because of this, because it's not a kedushin that's mesurin lebiyah.
Wait a minute. A person, if there's a chuppah's nida, and then after a week they find out something, they separate. They don't need to get?
According to the Rambam, I don't know. I don't know how it would come out. Lamaisa, I don't know how it would come out according to the Rambam. Pashtas,
we would say it was never chuppah.
Yeah.
No, according to the Rambam, it needs to get.
The way you
But
explain
because of the other sheetas, because of the other sheetas.
No, because the Kedushin is typhus in. He holds the chuppah is not a chuppah. Kedushin under the chuppah is typhus.
Kedushin under the chuppah.
Chuppah's need is a different issue. Chuppah is not Kedushin. Kedushin, he's masking the Kedushin of the need is a Kedushin.
His issue is the Nesuin?
Only with the chuppah, yeah.
Yeah, was it? I don't remember. Yeah.
I think so.
Could be. I meant, of course, another thing I meant to look into today, and of course I forgot.
It's brought in Hilchas Nida. The Mechaber brings the Rambam.
In what, Tzadi Beis? Tzadi Beis?
Yeah, I think.
I don't know. Okay. Whatever. I dropped the ball. I meant to look into it today to get it for sure, but whatever. It is an issue. There is some sort of issue with it. Either way, so Gemara is saying, sorry for keeping coughing, but so Gemara is saying that's Kedushin Shem Rasul Labiyah. It must be that it's a Kedushin because here we're making a Kedushin. This guy could never ever finish off the marriage because he had no idea who his wife was. So then why do they need a get? So the Gemara answers, no, Kedushin Shem Rasul Labiyah is not Kedushin. So well, you need a get. He did know who they were, and then they got mixed up. Sort of, I guess, well, Gershon was saying, identical twins, let's say. Or really with a shliach, but this is the easier way. But he recognized them, and then he knew which one he got married to, and then it got mixed up. So B'Shas, when he got married, he knew he was married. Tekonami, we can be medayik that that's the case in the Mishna. Gutani, ve'ena yodeya, right? And he doesn't know. Ve'lo gutani ve'ena yodua, and it doesn't say it's not known, meaning he knew and then he forgot. It's not like ve'ena yodua means that it was never known. It was known and then it was forgotten. Shmami no. So that's what the case in the Mishna. So at one point he knew who he was being married, and he recognized him, and then it got mixed up. So then my kamashmalan. So what's the chiddush? Right? I mean, a guy marries a lady, has no idea who the lady is. So then what's the chiddush? Of course he has to get divorced, right? Seifa it's trichalei, no, the seifa we need a mace, v'loi ach echad, chalitza shtein, right? So we said if he dies and he has one brother, he does chalitza to both. If he had two brothers, echad chalitz v'echad miyavim. One does chalitza, one does yibum. Dafka michlatz v'hada yivume. But in dafka has to be that the first one does chalitza, and then the second one could do yibum. But to do yibum first, that's not going to work. To paga because he's going to end up with the sister of the person that he was supposed to marry. Right. So really, the whole first case is pashut. The only reason why we're teaching the first case that they have to get divorced is in order to use it as a stepping stool to get to the second case. Fine. And then we have the
Isn't this also the first time we've had in the Mishna that yibum is from kiddushin, not just nisuin?
That yibum is from kiddushin.
Yeah.
I thought we mentioned it agav. Did we mention it agav?
Agav, but I don't think we had it in the Mishna yet. I think this is the first Mishna that mentions it before the sixth parak.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Could be. I thought we had it as a yibum from kiddushin. Okay, I don't know. Either way. Second case. Two brothers, Makadish, two sisters. I'm sorry, not brothers. Two men, Makadish, two sisters. Shmami no kiddushin, shemesurun lebiyah kiddushin. Same exact Gemara. No, we're not talking about where he never knew who he married. He knew, and then he got mixed up. What's the chiddush? If they die, both brothers die. Not brothers, both husbands die. One has one brother. And one has two brothers. The yachid is chalitz to both. Vashnayim echad chalitz v'echad miyavim, and the other two, one does chalitza, one does yibum. Shita, hainu reisha. That's the same exact case of the reisha, right? Just here we're adding on one more set of one marriage. Originally, there's two marriages. No, the same leagues are trey atuchad. Maybe you make exera two brothers because of one brother. Meaning with two brothers, one of them could do yibum. Right, so then maybe that one, when there's a case of one brother, he's going to think, oh, he could do yibum. Kamash Milan. But dafka michlatz v'adar yibumi. But again, one has to do chalitza first, and then there has to be yibum. Aval yibumi bereisha loy. But to do yibum first doesn't work. The kapaga be yavama l'shuk, because he's going to be marrying a yavama l'shuk. So that's where this Gemara changes from the previous Gemara. Before it was a shaila of achois kukasoi, marrying a sister of somebody he was supposed to do yibum to, and this one is talking about Yavama l'shuk. Fine. The last case is Lazesh Naim or Lazesh Naim. Both of each husband had two brothers. So when it says Hasul Amali Hainohach, it's the same. It's the same rules. So what are you teaching this for? So the same maligzar. No, because maybe make the Gzeira Dilma Biyavim B'loy Chalitza. Right? Because we're saying that first one has to do Chalitza, and then the other one could do yibum. Right, and so you might make a gezerah. Well, maybe they're going to make a mistake in the order. Maybe instead of doing chalitza first and then yibum, maybe they're going to do yibum and then chalitza, which would be a problem. Kamash Malon, we're not worried about that. So here's the problem, because we're going to have this in two blot. Is what about the standard case of two brothers that marry two sisters? Right, we had it a few times, and then both brothers die. So there we said they need chalitza and not yibum, right? So why? What's the difference between that case and this case? Meaning, what's the difference between the case of two men, not brothers, who marry two sisters, but they don't know who they married, and there one of them could do chalitza and then the other one could do yibum. Why is that different than the case of two brothers that marry two sisters? Why can't the first one do chalitza and then the other one could do yibum? Because the skuka falls away, right? So then when I ask, you have four brothers, two married, two sisters, and then Mesu, and then they die. I'm sorry, Mesu Hanasuna Zachayas, and the two brothers that married the sisters died. We say there that they do chalitza and they don't do yibum, meaning because we don't know what to do with them. Right? So I'm right. And in our Mishnah, we said one could do chalitza and the other one could do yibum. Right? And then the Mishnah there in the first Mishna, the next parak, says that if they did do yibum, they both have to get divorced. And here we're saying if they both did yibum, then they don't have to get divorced. So what's the difference in that case? In this case, hachi hashta. No, so this is how you have to look at it. On Talmud Aleph now. Hasam over there, Ilam Mandam Yesh Zika. If we go according to the Mandam, it says there is Zika, so Yesh Zika. So there's Zika. So since there's Zika, then both sisters are going to answer each other for the brothers. So therefore, it's not going to work for one of them to do yibum. Bilam Anda Amar. Because it's sisters. It's not achais kukasei. I mean, it's achais kukasei, not yibam l'shuk. Bilam Anda Amar also levatam mitzvahs given, and then there's another mandam, and we had this once before also, that the reason, right, this was the wild shita of Rameir. Right? I think it was Rameir. That it says that you're not allowed to be mavatal the mitzvah of yibum. So what's going to happen? Let's say we let one do chalitza or one do yibum. So then what's going to happen? And he's going to do chalitza, and then that brother, the surviving brother, is going to die. And now the brother that's still alive, what's he going to do? It's achos skukas. It's a achos of skukas. So then she's not going to be able to have anything. So therefore, it means she's not going to be able to have yibum. So therefore, we rather just do two chalitzas instead of doing one chalitza and one yibum. We're trying to what do you call it? We're being chayshid for a far-fetched case. We'd rather both of them do chalitza than to try and get one yibum in, because if you try and get one yibum in, you may not get anything. Right? So also levato mitzvahs given. So then also levato mitzvahs given, right? So then you're going to be mevato the yibum. Hacha kol chad v'chad emer didei comes from you. Here, like what we said before from the Rashi, each one could say, "This I married the one that I'm supposed to marry," right? Because we're not going to make them get divorced if each one says, "I married the right one," right? And then we said Lamafreya that it would work. So Mamanashach, according to either shita, it's different than the case of the four brothers where two brothers married two sisters. Fine. And let's say they went and they got married. So then we don't get divorced. So Tani Shila, Bafilu Shneim Kaihanim. Even if both of these brothers are Kaihanim, they don't have to get divorced. Right? Now, what's the pshat? Because one of them for sure is marrying a woman who had chalitza properly. Right? One of them is gonna, there's gonna be a chalitza here. Right? You have two pairs of brothers, right? Because you have the two sisters, and they got chalitza from the two. There's two men. That's chazal the case. Two men, not brothers, married two sisters. They don't know who. Nobody knows who married who. So what we said is that the first pair of brothers can do chalitza, and then the second pair, one could do chalitza, one could do yibum. That's very nice. But that second pair, if they're kaihanim, one of them is marrying a chalitza. One of these wives for sure had chalitza from somebody who's supposed to do chalitza to her. So that means one of these kaihanim is for sure married to somebody who needed chalitza, who got chalitza. So how could that be? It's also for a kain. My timer. So chalutza derabanan he. Chalitza is a derabanan, meaning a kohen marrying a chalitza is a derabanan. A sabik chalutza like gazabu derabanan, and a sabik chalutza the derabanan didn't make a gzeira. So Gemara asks, chalutza derabanan he, the chalitza is derabanan.
But you just said it's not a sabik chalutza.
It's a sabik chalutza.
Why? You said you sure did chalutza.
No, it's one of them is for sure chalutza, but we don't know which one.
Which one? Oh, okay.
So therefore, it's a suffix. I mean, you get into a lot of lumdus here. It's Shnei Shvilim, because one of them is for sure doing something wrong. But if you approach each one, we say, well, I'm fine. I'm a suffix. So each one's a suffix. I mean, you get into the same thing. You have the whatever. It's hard. It's a Yevamos Gemara, no? Right? You have two pieces of kosher and one piece of tray falls in. It's butter. You can eat all three pieces. How do you eat all three pieces? One of you for sure eating tray, right? the same thing here. Somebody's doing something wrong, but the bottom line is you analyze it from each person's perspective. He says, I'm a suffix d'Rabbanan. Right? So the Gemara says, chalitza d'Rabbanan, a kohen marrying a chalitza d'Rabbanan, Vatanya grusha. It says, grusha that a kohen can marry a grusha. Ainly a grusha, chalitza minayin, tamalam ve'isha. So it says ve'isha. So ve'isha tells you that you're not allowed to marry chalutza. That sure sounds like a daraisa. So I'm sure the oilam could be mechavan to the teretz, right? Midrabanani, who it's really a darabanan. The cross machta ba'alma, who the pasuk is a smachta ba'alma. Since the pasuk is smachta ba'alma, so it's a darabanan, but we have what to lean on for a daraisa. Okay, tomorrow's daf and the next daf, the Bez Hashem are easier.
At that shua, it's easier tomorrow night.
What?
I'm selling shua.
Oh,
Should be a salesman.
I should be a salesman. I don't.
Jacko,
think not-
we need.
Tomorrow's
we need
easier. Just stick with
that
it. Tomorrow's
physical.
easier.
Yeah. Whatever.
We needed that physics now.
You know, I was just thinking, my cynical self was like, some of these cases that they think of, I'm thinking, boy, I wish they had internet back then. I'm sure that right? They wouldn't. Whatever. I don't know if that's apicorsis or not, but whatever. Yeah.
That's good.
Anyways, all right. Good night, everybody.
Yaakov,
Yeah.
I keep thinking when we learn sugyas like this and blot like this, just imagine Reb Chaim learned 8 blot of this, and that was just a part of his learning, and he learned it. When he learned a line of this, in his mind, I mean, if we could possibly imagine, every halacha that touches on this, every taz shach, everything went through his head as he
said bua.
As he said bua. It's yeah. Yeah.
Lemaisa.
How did he start? The first time he learned that 8 blot. Is it a time on us? Do we don't get? I mean, on me, not on us.
I was talking.
One second. You should speak for yourself.
I just said that. I corrected myself. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
There's a lot
I feel much better now. Thank you.
There's a lot of kashas. On this. Lemaisa Geret. There should be more gedolim that finish Kol HaTorah Kula. There should be more.
Maybe there are. You just don't hear about them.
Could be, but
Kubat the ear didn't discover.
So I heard on one of these Hespedim, they said that he was not like a super genius, but he had super hasmada. I don't understand. How can you comprehend 8 daf in depth and not be a genius?
I don't know. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it.
One second, the 8 daf was 8 daf a day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the shot.
Yes.
And the way Reb Chaim learned it, not the way we would learn it.
Did you know that
he's not learning? He's not learning 8 blot Daf Yomi. You're saying, yeah.
So a guy asked
not
me,
my Daf Yomi at least.
So a fellow today asked me, did he learn Be'ian? I said he didn't learn Be'ian. I think he just went through everything, and then Memela he got all the Ian. When you know everything and you did it so many times, you're Memela going to be mechaven to all the Ian. And
how long did it take? I want to say, how long did it take him?
He says he finished Shas by his bar mitzvah.
No, but how long did 8 blot take him every day?
He did his schedule is as follows. He woke up at around 1:30 a.m. By nets, he finished most of his shibudim, which is 8 blot plus Yerushalmi plus Mishna Brura, Shulchan Aruch, 3 daf a day Mishna Brura. I forgot how much Shulchan Aruch. He usually finished most of that by nets.
By the nets?
By the nets, yeah. Over a span of 4 or 5 hours.
Rishon said he finished 8 blocks.
Where is it?
In a half hour.
Right.
Here, 11 pages of Zayar, 10 prakim of Tehillim, 8 prakim of Tanakh, 10 simanim of Mishnah Berurah, 8 prakim of Rambam, 10 simanim of Tur Shulchan Aruch, 8 daf of Talmud Bavli, 8 daf of... I can't even read this with a straight face.
Did you know that Elio on the, what do you call it today? The new podcast of the I don't know if you liked it, Elio. This guy on All Daf talks about
number
Reb Chaim
2.
Svarim.
I'm in the middle of it. I'm in the middle.
I didn't know Reb Chaim wrote a sefer answering up every time the Marsha says whatever tzarachi and whatever lashon the Marsha uses.
V'yesh liyashiv. Every
Yesh
v'yesh liyashiv.
He wrote a
Yeah.
sefer answering every yesh liyashiv of the Marsha. Did you know that?
That was his first sefer, I think. No,
I don't know. It's wild.
it's crazy. It's
How many sperm? One second. How many sperm did Chaim write?
A lot. There's a lot out there that we don't know about.
I mean, I know about the Haggadah he wrote.
He wrote a sefer every Ibriya, right? In the extra month.
Yeah.
Right? That's what they told us in his house when we were there, right?
Yeah. No, the Haggadah and all that's not from him direct. I don't think he wrote that on. I think that's just people accumulating it.
yeah, it's accumulation. Yeah.
He wrote a lot of svarim.
Compilation, right? Yes, he wrote a ton of svarim, a ton of hilchos tzitzis. He has hilchos shaluach hakein, hilchos tattoo.
How come we don't know about it?
Because the island, whoever needs to look up the halachas that Rabbi Yisrael Reisman said in the Hesped, he said in a couple of places that a doctor asked him that he does colonoscopies. So what happens is if they see, when they do a colonoscopy and they see something, so they mark it with permanent dye inside the body, so that the surgeon will know where to go. And the doctor asked Rabbi Yisrael Reisman, is that considered making a tattoo because it's permanent? So he says,
sounds like that eyelash Shiloh.
Okay, whatever. Yeah. Well, he said, where am I going to find this Shiloh? So Reb Chaim Kanevsky wrote on tattoo. Reb Chaim discusses it, and he says, based on a Rambam, if you can't see it, then it should be okay. I think that's what he had said.
That's a paskins.
Yeah. It's just whatever.
It's way beyond mind-boggling.
It really is. I never knew we had all these farms.
The Pella is
they sell these farms in stores.
No, you got to buy them from him.
They will soon. Give it time.
That could be, but the Stipler farm were not sold. Only you could only buy them by his daughter. Reb Chaim had the source. He gave it to his sister.
Or black market.
Well, the cynic in me is definitely begging the question: how long will it take before some auctioneer decides to get a hold of one of the whatevers of Reb Chaim and sell it for millions of dollars?
You didn't see the pictures of the house. They boarded up before Chavar Kadisha came. They boarded up all of his shelves.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what, if you look, his house is covered in white boards.
What did you get? Like a delivery of Svarim up there today?
I thought you were going to say something else.
Nice.
I thought you were going to say how fast Art Scroll.
I didn't have time today, but it was very nice.
How fast? What?
How fast Art Scroll publishes a book.
It can't. There's nothing much to say more about Reb Chaim. Everybody knows about him. There's nothing much more to say.
You want to put money on this one? I'll bet you. How much are we betting?
Jacob, by the way, that hasn't stopped Art Scroll yet. I'm just saying.
What?
You have to get Ginsburg.
How much? Let's make this sporting. How much are we betting on this? Art Scroll booking timeline.
They'll put out something very soon, probably within 2 months.
Aaron, you should do a pool. Everyone can bet on how many weeks it's going to take, and then the money.
I was wondering, the cards look new. They belong to you.
Within 8 weeks, there'll be something
Elio,
out.
I should definitely place bets because I have the inside.
I know the game.
You're excluded from.
1 second. I should double down on it, Elio.
Yeah.
Why you think Ginsburg and Yisrael Besser and a couple of other people aren't pooling their things together and writing something right now? Of course they are.
If you want, Gersh, you really want to be cynical because Thiago's not paying attention, so I can really be cynical.
Go ahead, Elio. Stay against me. Go ahead.
Art Scroll.
Can someone cut the record, please?
Oh, is this still recording?
It's still recording. I just realized.
Okay. Art Scroll already.
You got to kill the recording. What?
Art Scroll jumped.
Parents is not on.
Wait for him to die. They published the book about him.
About who?
Reb Chaim.
Oh.
Which book is that?
A couple of years ago, Art Scroll published a book about him.
Yeah. There's a book about him. Yes.
And they already knew what we would be joking about. They just jumped the gun by a year.
Yeah.
Gedalia Zlotowitz is smiling away, baby. I saw him last night at a chasna. He was very happy.
Still recording.
That's fine. That's
okay. He'd be happy to know we're talking about it. Trust me.
That's right.